Okay, everybody, how's it going? This is Bob again. And like I said before, I know that I'm kind of doing the same thing that a bunch of other people on YouTube are doing. And I want to switch it up a little bit and just do some things that I haven't seen other people do. I know that's something that'll probably end up hurting my views because I don't think people are kind of interested in these off titles or anything like that. But, you know, again, I just want to be a little different. I want to bring out some stuff that I like or maybe that I knew about that other people didn't know about, whatever the deal was. So I do have a copy here, a digital copy that I found on a an old hard drive of The Legend of Zelda #1 from Valiant Comics. And this was, I remember reading this. This is not going to be in the highest quality because, again, this was something that I had from a long time ago. A friend of mine gave me the digital copy of a few of these. I don't have the physical editions. I'm not even going to lie about that. So I checked it out, and I don't know. It's very weird because I'm not sure exactly when these comics came out. Uh, I'm getting the impression it came out around the time that The Adventures of Link came out, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda, and when the Legend of Zelda cartoon was available, because there are certain things here that show that, but there's also like some contradictions. So we're going to go ahead and move forward, and I'll talk about that as we reach it. But as you can see here, here's the cover where we have Princess Zelda looking like Princess Zelda. And we literally have Link looking like the cartoonish version from the manual to the Adventures of Link. I think they were trying to keep that. They didn't provide the same style for the other characters in the book, and that is something that you will see. So again, I'm going to move on here. We have page one, which is basically something that's like straight out of the Adventures of Link manual, talking about the Triforce of wisdom and power and courage. Talking about Ganon, talking about Impa, stating that they have to find a hero that'll be able to protect the Triforce of Courage from Ganon. Now, if you see here in the first panel, it says a long time ago in the Kingdom of Hyrule, legend was handed down from generation to generation. The legend of the three Triforces, each one possessing great mystic energy, one for wisdom, one for power, and one for courage. Then one dark day, an evil army led by the Prince of Darkness, Ganon, attacked Hyrule and stole the Triforce of power. Okay. Now, when we cut to, we're going to page two here, where Impa found Link, and again, this is like a summation of what happened in the Adventures of Link, where Link helped wake the princess who was under a sleep spell. It was a whole Sleeping Beauty thing for the sequel to the game. I'm sure people remember. We can see here at the bottom of this, we see Link like dipping Princess Zelda as if he's about to get a kiss, which again is very reminiscent of the cartoon. I'm not sure where this personality trait came from. None of that is in the games. I guess you could say that in the Adventures of Link, I think he had to maybe kiss the princess to wake her. I'm not sure. So I don't know if they just took that and kind of ran with it because they didn't have much information. I don't know. I thought the manuals were pretty clear with storyline and character and such. But as we can see here, like even Princess Zelda is wearing the outfit from the cartoon. So it makes me think that the cartoon was out at the time that this comic was being published. But then other things will stop that from happening. We're going to cut to where the story is going to begin. The story he also serves. There's actually two stories in this book. But it says here, in the word bubbles, I'm going to read it again so you can see what I'm talking about. A long, long time ago, the world was in an age of chaos. There was a land called Hyrule, a legend called Zelda, and the adventurer named Link, an evil known as Ganon, and the three Triforces with power over them all. Hyrule's North Palace destroyed, Ganon triumphant, Link doomed, Zelda's people enslaved. So basically, it was just like they recapped it in the beginning and told you this, then recapped it again 2 pages later. That made me feel some sort of way on it. We can see here the look of the Moblins, which are from the Adventures of Link. We've got Ganon wearing this robe, which looks like it's from the animated series. Impa was not in the animated series. So they're bringing her in from the manual for that game, while again sticking with the outfit that Princess Zelda is wearing from the animated series. But basically, here on this page, we have Impa telling Link that she has seen a vision from the Triforce, and that vision states that if Link leaves the castle today, that Ganon will enslave all the people of Hyrule, kill Link, and destroy the palace forever. So she's begging Link to not go with them on their journey. Link feels some sort of way about that, but he believes in Impa's vision from the Triforce, so he promises that he will not leave the castle, no matter what. So Impa and Zelda leave. Link is left at the castle. When when Link is startled by a fairy, right? Now, in the Zelda games, the first fairy that I knew about was Navi. Okay, hey, listen, everybody knows Navi. Okay, short for navigation. And then in the cartoon, the fairy's name was Sprite. But here in the comic, the fairy's name is Myth. And I don't understand where that came from. What is Myth? The fairy also looks different. We got more of a Tinkerbell type fairy in the animated series, which is probably more in line with the original concept of Link, since I knew that what's his name, Miyamoto, the creator of Zelda, said that it was kind of based on Peter Pan, so that would make sense. Here we have like a flying baby, so it's a little different with that. But basically, Myth, the fairy, is telling Link that it was crazy for him to allow Zelda to leave the castle by herself, and that he needs to go after her immediately. And Link is like, well, I can't do that because I made a promise that I wouldn't leave the castle no matter what. And the fairy is kind of verbally bashing Link and calling him stupid that he wouldn't go after Zelda when she knows that Zelda's in trouble. She just showed him in this fountain using magic or whatever. So then I guess the fairy just disappears because now we have Captain Kryn and some soldiers of Hyrule, and they're telling Link that there is trouble, that or actually, I'm sorry, Link went to Captain Kryn and the soldiers and said that Zelda is in trouble and that they need to ride out because he cannot leave the castle. So they leave just for Captain Kryn to come back sometime later, looking like, he kind of had his ass handed to him. And he tells Link that Ganon captured Zelda and that Link is the only one that can save her. And if we look again at the artwork here, it's so jarring to look at this cartoon character Link with whatever his hair is doing. It's very weird. And then we have these other characters which are drawn in a more realistic type of fashion or just a different style altogether. So it's very weird because it never looks like Link belongs in this book with the rest of the characters. So this guy's trying to push Link out the door and say, hey, you need to go save Zelda. And Link's like, but I can't. I promised I would stay here. And then this Captain Kryn just backhands the fuck out of Link. And he's like, you need to get your shit together and get the fuck out there and save Zelda right fucking now. And Link is like, but I can't. I promised that no matter what, I would stay here at this castle. And the guy's like, fine, you're letting her down by not leaving here, but whatever. So now we have another visitor to the castle, which is Impa. Impa comes back and tells Link that Zelda is again under the sleeping spell from Ganon, and that Link needs to go save her. And she's trapped in Death Mountain or whatever. And Link is like, but you made me promise that I wouldn't leave the castle because you said if I did, that I would be killed and the castle would be destroyed and Ganon would get power and steal the Triforces and all of this. And Impa's like, sometimes even I can make a mistake. And so you need to go. You shouldn't be holding these promises or whatever. And Link is like, well, Impa said that it was the Triforce that predicted this, not you. So I don't believe that you're Impa. So he draws his sword and he attacks. And of course, Impa then turns into some kind of magic goo or whatever that runs away. And then we see that Impa was actually Ganon, and that Ganon had been portraying all of these different people the whole time in order to get Link to leave the castle so that he could take it over. Then, outside of the castle, we are introduced to a Wizrobe and a Dark Nut. Now, I thought the Dark Nuts looked more like knights. And the Wizrobes, I don't, yeah, they just wore the robes or whatever. So this Wizrobe is telling the Dark Nut that once Link leaves the castle, that they're going to zap him with all the power they could muster or whatever, so it would just like disintegrate Link immediately. So they're going to wait for Link to come out because they knew the Ganon went in there to send Link, to help Princess Zelda or whatever. So Link is telling the guards to watch the gate immediately because he knows that Impa turned into Ganon and that Ganon's going to try to escape. So on the next page, we do have Link running from the castle on the drawbridge, but we have the other Link talking to a guard up in a tower. And the guard is like, "Link, what are you doing up here when I just saw you run out the front door?" And Link is like, "Oh, that wasn't me. That's obviously Ganon." And then suddenly Ganon is zapped by the Wizrobe and the Dark Knight because they think that he is Link. You would think that Ganon would have remembered the plan that he concocted so that he would not get zapped. But again, this is very reminiscent of the animated series. So I believe that a lot of it came from that with the type of stories they were trying to do. And then, of course, a couple hours later, Zelda returns with Impa and Captain Kryn and tells Link that, nothing had happened. It was a good thing that he stayed like he promised, or else they would have lost the castle. And that is, well, actually, I almost forgot because Link had stuck with his promise. He asked the princess if she would be able to give him a kiss. And Zelda said, "Remember what you said about standing and waiting? Keep up the good work." I guess she's telling him to keep standing and waiting for the kiss he's never going to receive. All right. So that's the end of the first story. Then we actually have a map that was provided in the comic, which is, again, really up there with the Adventures of Link map and not the original Legend of Zelda map, because it says on there that we have the overworld and such. So you can see the different places on here. Plus, it has the towns that were not in the original game, but in the sequel. So the next comic, or the next story in The Legend of Zelda, is Missing in Action. And we have Link bursting into the king's throne room, knocking over soldiers, and he looks like he's going mad. And he's like, "What the hell's going on? Everybody's got to get out of my way." And he runs up to the king and he's like, the guards are like, "Forgive me, Majesty, we couldn't stop him from running in here." And Link is like, "What the hell are you doing, letting Zelda leave with the Triforce and not telling me about it? I should be out there protecting her." And the king was like, "Well, Zelda said that the only way to keep the Triforce of Wisdom safe from Ganon was for her to take it far away and to never be seen again." And Link is like, "Well, I'm going to get her back. You can count on it." So he runs out of the throne room and he gets on his horse and rides through the forest towards the direction, I guess, he knew Zelda went. And he comes across Zelda, who was waylaid by these lizard people whose names escape me. It's been a while. The ones that were just a pain in the ass in the video game. But they knocked her off the horse, and they look like they're about to attack and steal the Triforce, when Link comes in and zaps them all into oblivion. And then he grabs Zelda, and he's like, "Where are you going? Why are you doing this?" And she's like, "You have to let me go. This is the only way I can keep the Triforce safe from Ganon." I'll read what she says, but she's like, "My dear friend, don't you see? You defeat Ganon time and time again, but nothing changes. Ganon only has to win once, and he rules Hyrule forever." And that is the way it is, because, being the good guys, I guess they can't destroy Ganon. They just defeat him and let him go, and then he comes back to do it again, which is, what is it, the Batman paradox, basically. If you're not going to end the criminals will come back and continue on. So, she says that, the only way that she was going to be able to keep this Triforce safe was for her to leave the land forever. And Link is not very sad. He's not very happy about that. He's kind of sad. He's taking it really personal. He's like, "How could you leave me? Um, this is crazy," and blah blah blah. Because obviously he's in love with her. But again, when I'm looking at this page here, we have a more realistically drawn Princess Zelda and just a cartoon caricature of Link, and the art styles don't match up. This looks like a Roger Rabbit type thing, where you have the real world and then the cartoon world intermixing, and that's what this looks like. And it's just very off-putting. It's hard to take it seriously at all, even though I know these stories are not supposed to be taken seriously. I'm sure they were for kids, but I don't know. It's just very weird that they would have made this artistic decision. But Link decides to help Zelda, and they ride off. They're going towards the fifth palace. That's where Zelda said they will find the whistle, which, when she plays it, will whisk her away to a land again and can never touch her. So, as you can see here, they go through the forest and through caves, through the desert, through a graveyard, through the sea, fighting the Zoras, the evil Zoras, before they became good, I guess. And then they finally make it to the fifth palace, where they have to fight an Iron Knuckle, which is one of the knights on a floating horse. So Link does defeat him, knocks his helmet off, and we can see that there is a person in there. And apparently the person asks for mercy, and he says, you must be the warrior that was destined to defeat me. And anyone who's able to defeat me is granted access to the treasure, which is the whistle. So Link is the only one who's able to go into the room, and he passes through the wall and sees the whistle there. And of course, his first thought is, I can destroy this whistle and make sure that Zelda can never leave me. Or, I could just lie to her and say that there was no whistle in here, and that would stop her as well. And you can see that he's a little concerned here, that he's thinking these essentially bad thoughts as a hero. But he emerges looking sad and hands her the whistle and says, here you go, just as I promised. So, have a nice life or whatever. And he starts to walk away. And Zelda's like, you better put this whistle back. And he's like, but I thought you were going to use it to protect the Triforce or whatever. And she's like, Mister, wherever you are is the safest place we'll ever be. So, of course, Link says, safe enough to kiss me, princess? And the princess is like, no place is that safe. Ha ha ha. Cue the laugh track. And that's what we get for the animated Zelda again. So that is the end of The Legend of Zelda #1 from Valiant Comics. Again, very weird. It's a little off-putting looking at Link here and then looking at the other characters. They're all supposed to be elves from Hyrule. You can see that Zelda has the pointy ears and everything, but they made her look just so much different than Link. It's just very weird. The stories are childish and simplistic. The same stuff you would get in the cartoon. The only thing that was missing from the comic is, excuse me, princess. So, I guess maybe that might show up in a future issue. But guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you could do me a favor and hit subscribe, that'd be awesome. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I'm trying to get an audience for when I release my comic book Ghost Girl, which will be happening probably sometime in the year 2025, since I did fall behind because of life got in the way. But again, if you like what I'm doing, hit subscribe. And if you like the video, hit like. So again, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time.